watching QTV Youth Dialogue, and I am your host, Jana Bosonko. So once again, we're right here in Kudang in partnership with Action Aid to Gambia, and this time we'll be talking about governance, civic education, you name it, because it's a town hall meeting where councillors as well as National Assembly members will have a chance to interact with their electorates. And our main focus here is young people, as 20 young people are attending this event today. The December 4th election is around the corner, and it's important that young people particularly are given the opportunity to in fact try to interact with some of these people that they've elected. And it is very important to note that the voter registration for this year, we've seen that young people did come out to register, and they have a very, very huge number. So it is important that we have sessions as such to assess that. So right now we'll be joined shortly by a representative from Activista de Gambia to give me an overview in relation to what this project is about, and other representatives as well. So do stay tuned. When we come back, we'll head right onto that conversation with a representative from Activista. Do stay tuned.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV Youth Dialogue. Like I mentioned, we're joined by a representative from Activista, Alaji Nyang, and this particular project obviously is under Action Aid, but conceived and being implemented by Activista de Gambia. So thank you so much for joining us, Alaji.
Thank you, Jeff, for having me.
Yeah, so talk to us about how this particular project came about. You know, is it based on the fact that the December 4th election is around the corner and it is important that they have conversations as such, or is it just necessary to have this conversation, putting December 4th aside?
Yeah, it is necessary to have this kind of conversation, putting December 4th aside. I mean, the project was conceived as a result of the change that we have realized as Gambian in 2016. And part of the process and effort to consolidate that change we felt it was necessary to do to build on the civic education that has already been started, and to ensure that Gambian in general understand their rights and duties as citizens, and can recognize right violation where it happens and can know where to seek redress. And beyond that also, we wanted to see an improved participation in the governance at both national and local level by citizens. And to do that, we needed to also make sure the citizens understand what are the levels through which they can participate in decision making and how. And beyond that also, we wanted to also make sure or facilitate the interaction between elected representative and the electorate. And that is why we also have some kind of citizen platform where you have elected representative come have a dialogue with citizens, so the citizen can give feedback on the actions and inactions of the elected representatives.
Okay, so I don't know, I just want to understand how you came to the conclusion in relation to organizing this, because you know, Gambia here at some point, everyone is part of a particular political party. I know it must have been hard to really bring these people together. You know, some of these people are for GDC, some of these people are for NPP. So how did you manage, you know, to make sure that these people gather here despite party affiliation? Because it is also important to know that.
Yeah. First, when we send out the message, particularly to the people that we wanted them to come, so that we have this kind of conversation. What we do tell them is we're bringing your elected representatives. I mean, for example, we have 2 of the National Assembly members here from the Nyaminas. And of course, the one is just the recently elected one from the NPP party, and then the one from the GDC party. And often the councillors, they come from different parties. But what we make the Gambian people, or people that come here to attend, is we are having your National Assembly representative here. Because regardless of this the political parties these people represent or stand under to campaign for the National Assembly election. Once they won, they kind of represent, not they kind of, they actually represent the constituency and the nation at large. So basically, when we call people, that's what we do. And when we identify people from the communities to also come and attend this, we inform them that this was the intention and the objective of the meeting, and this is the basis through which their communities are identified to come and participate, because they are part of the constituencies from which these particular National Assembly members are selected. Yeah. So basically, it is their own representative. So it doesn't matter which party they come from, and even the members, it doesn't matter which party they come from. And that is why in the dialogue we tell them, look at them as your representative, don't look at them that they are elected from this political party.
So I know this particular town hall meeting is not specifically targeting young people, because as you can see, it's a combination of young people, men and women. But at least we know that there are 20 young people here from different areas. So it is important we also highlight the fact that this year, when it comes to the voter registration, young people came out in their numbers to register. When I saw the figures, I was quite elated. So what does this mean for Gambia and for Gambian youth, and for the work that youth organizations have been doing prior to this?
I mean, it means a lot. I mean, because what happened is usually we just use anecdotal evidence to say that what we have done has improved young people's political participation. And for example, the express satisfaction or demonstration of learning something that we receive having engaged young people. But what the statistic produced by IEC did was to actually give us concrete evidence that the actions that we've been taking, the sensitization that we've been taking to encourage young people to go out and register, to encourage young people to participate in the political processes, has actually shown some kind of dividend. I mean, having more than 50% of the registered voters as young people actually speak volume of what we've done. I mean, look at, for example, as soon as we see this, we kind of look back into our Rock the Vote concert, and we're like, somehow we've really seen people during that period
where you had to get a card to be able to actually attend it. So music is doing it for us then.
Yeah, I mean, advocacy, and then, you have to leverage on all the platforms that you can. And for us, we think the pop artists in this country have a lot of influence, and sometimes we need to leverage on their platform to also be able to sell the agenda of young people participating in politics. So it's a matter of how do we kind of improve the agency of young people, what are the platforms that we can leverage on. So we try to kind of figure this out, and what if you observe in our communities, you can organize community sensitization, you can organize town hall meetings, you can organize workshops, but there's always a certain category of people that will always be left out. And perhaps some of those kind of platforms are the only way you can get them involved in some sort of this kind of civic education and get their attention to kind of carry out a particular message. So we felt doing this have actually been pretty much impactful. And we hope getting them registered was one step. And then the next step is now also getting them actually out there to go and vote. And we hope that also when the elections come December 4th, we'll have more than 50% of the young people, of the voters, coming from young people.
Yeah, so some of the things that you just highlighted is very important. I know as youth organizations, you've decided to put in place sort of a not too young to lead under the National Youth Council. But I know Activista has a hand in that as well when it comes to that particular advocacy. So I don't know, I'm just trying to wonder if probably considering the fact that 50% of the voter registration is young people, maybe that also means that our Not Too Young to Run campaign might work for us, you know? What do you think? Is that your prediction?
Yeah, I think it definitely is going to be kind of an added advantage, knowing that this much number of young people have registered. I mean, sometimes when it comes to politics, the candidate don't necessarily have to be young for young people to vote for them. I mean, we also have we have to be aware of the fact that all these young people that we kind of talk about also have different political parties that they affiliate to, and sometimes voting, there are different factors that kind of influence people in the way they vote. Some vote because of maybe party affiliation and different factors. But we do believe with a rigorous campaign, with a rigorous sensitization, young people will actually vote for young people also when they stand for assembly. But it also depends on the political parties if they fill in youth candidates in the constituency, and I not just fill them in in any constituency, but fill them in winnable constituency.
Okay.
Because we also need to put into consideration that when we ask political parties to fill in young people as candidates, let them not just look at constituencies that they are likely to lose and fill in young people there.
Okay.
And they need to look at the winnable constituency and fill in young people so that we can have a greater number of young people
Has
represented.
that
in
been
our
the
parliament.
case previous years? Because you're talking about winnable and constituencies probably that they don't have a strong footing.
Yeah.
So are you saying that sometimes they push young people there because they know they don't have a strong footing there? Is that the case?
Yeah, if you look at the demography and our political culture here in the Gambia, you tend to see that people tend to trust responsibility more with older men, right? So chances of voting for older men are always higher than voting for young people because, I mean, there's this kind of perception that, I mean, wisdom comes with age.
Yeah.
And as a result, young people might not necessarily have the wisdom to carry out those specific responsibilities at the National Assembly. Of course, there are different, cases or scenarios where, of course, actually people vote in young people instead of the older people. But this generally the political culture in the Gambia. And that's one of the reasons, in fact, I think that particularly young people, particularly young women, fail to kind of come into the political parties and contest in election. One, I mean, the chances of them being voted by people in their constituencies are literally low
slim,
because of the perception of women in leadership in the country. And also, political parties, generally, politics for them is about power and is about quantity and the numbers. And basically, having more numbers in the National Assembly is a good thing for a political party. And they will look at winnable candidates, and wherein they feel that chances are in this political culture in the Gambia, chances are for men to win a constituency is very high. There are higher chances of political parties not filling in women. So that's one of the reasons also we need to do a lot of campaign and advocacy to change the narrative, and then that is also to break these barriers in political parties and the perception in political parties, then going down to the community. Because I feel the more women candidates the political parties fill in, the more chances that there are to change the narrative that people can actually vote in young women, and they will make a change in the National Assembly.
So the Not Too Young to Lead campaign that we had 5 years ago, are there any plans put in place for this year's campaign?
Yeah.
Just to make sure they encourage prior.
Yeah. Plans are in place to actually come back with the campaign in 2022 to ensure that we also have a good number of young people coming out to vie for these political offices. Yeah.
Okay. So where are we?
We've already had some few series of meetings, and actually from there it kind of we've been quite a little bit, but as soon as we are done with all this preparation to the to the presidential election, as soon as that is out of the door, our focus is going to be concentrated in the National Assembly, and that is when we are going to scout out for people who are interested in running for political office at the National Assembly.
Okay, so the perception as well is that when these young people get to vie for these positions and go under the ticket of independent, they don't make it at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's
So what are you doing as youth groups to actually have consultations with these political parties to kind of convince them?
Yeah, if you look at
to feed in these people.
Yeah, we look at what we did in the last Not Too Young to Run. We actually have this kind of dialogue, meeting different political party executive, to have a conversation with them to ensure that they have these people fill in political offices, and beyond that, we've been having this kind of conversation. And what we're doing, for example, at Activista, we're supporting the UBIC, that is the youth branch of the Inter-Party Committee.
Okay.
It has already been launched. We've supported the launching and the orientation of the executive members. So from next week, what we are trying to look at is try to help them put up structures in all the regions, all the 8 administrative regions, to have their regional UBIC structure. And what we want to do is encourage youth political participation through youth in political parties.
Okay.
If you look at UBIC, the structure is each party will have 2 permanent reps and 2 alternate reps. And each of those reps the 2 permanent reps will be a male and a female. So there is a 50 representation in the UBIC as it is. So that way we try to also look at how do we push in, encourage young people who are already within the political parties, to encourage them to kind of take more responsibilities at the party. But also the parties themselves, we also working with the Inter-Party, encourage the Inter-Party Committee to kind of help young people break barriers within their different political parties to be part of the executive. So if we can push young people in politics already to have the courage to vie for more political office, and also to have this campaign within their party themselves. Because sometimes we are just fighting from the outside.
Yeah.
We are pushing from the outside. What we want to do is to have these young people also within the political parties ask for this thing from their party executives.
Important. Thank you so much, Alaji.
You're
You know,
welcome.
any final words, any message come December 1st is around the corner, and I'm also looking forward to having a session with different party representatives that are young people. I can remember I did that 5 years ago, 5+ years ago, and it was quite interesting. I think, you know, it was the first debate that I organized, and we had all these representatives come and debate it out. And to be honest, I was so impressed with that, because that showed me that these young people understood each of what their candidates had to offer, which was a good thing. And Taliban Bensouda obviously won at the end of the day. Which he's a young person.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm
definitely.
supporting him, disclaimer. But anyway, it was left to the people to make that decision.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess, for example, we've seen young people come in
Yeah.
to the National Assembly, and you know, some as mayor,
Yeah.
and I'm saying they've set some kind of example
Yeah.
that could build, you know, some confidence in young people's leadership in this country. What I have to say with regards to the December 4th election is, it's going to be a huge election, the first after the ousting of, you know, Jammeh,
Yeah.
and supposedly we are supposed to have a transitional government, but we're still going to have the first election post Jammeh, and it's going to be highly contested. And I believe with the number of political parties we have and the number of individuals who have thrown, you know, their hat into the ring as independent candidate, for me this has given, you know, Gambian a wide range of choice to choose from. I think in this election we'll not talk about not having enough choice to choose from. We'll have that. But also I think moving towards the election we need to do a lot of work to de-escalate the tension, because there's, you know, sometimes a lot of hate and dangerous speech, you know, moving around the country. And I think every young person and every individual within the country can do a thing or two to
make
kind
sure
of,
it's
to
calm,
kind of de-escalate
right?
the tension,
Yeah.
and ensure there is a peaceful election. And also what I will say, I think, like you mentioned, you've done some pretty, you know, good work in the previous National Assembly election, and I think also moving forward, supporting and having these young people who are interested in politics, you know, have a platform to talk about their ideas and have a platform to expose themselves. It's really important. And I think the youth dialogue is
and you know, that is one of our objectives as a program, giving a platform to young people who want to venture into politics, and that is what we've been doing. So we are here and we are looking forward to organizing that debate, and I think this is an opportunity as well to call on the Commission on Political Debates, because we can have a partnership in relation to that, because as a television station, we have the publicity, we have the audience, and they have the know-how, and they're young people, so we're looking forward to that. So thank you so much, Alaji Nyang from Activista, for joining us and enlightening us about this project. And I have seen that we've gone beyond the project. But anyway, it is important, because young people in politics is very important in Gambia, and looking at the fact that today at least 50% of the voter registration is from young people is a good thing. So,
So thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the program, Alaji. So viewers, we will go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will have another person join us here to talk about this particular town hall meeting that we are having here. We will also be joined by Honorable Omar Cisse, the National Assembly member for Nyamena East. So do stay tuned.
Check out the all-new Tigo 8 at S-Pass Motors. Call 3522-222 or 353-2222 for more information. Cherry.
Welcome back, viewers, from that short break. We're still here managing with the heat. So I'm joined by Honorable Omar Cisse. Honorable, Thank you so much for joining us. Tey dañoo teg honorable si naaj bi, but it's worth it.
Thank you very much, viewers, and Jennifer, thank you very much for inviting me for the second time in such a platform to discuss very pertinent issues relating to state of the nation.
Okay, so we've seen that your electorates are in there, about to have conversations with you in relation to your work, your leadership, what you've been doing for your constituency, which is very important. So why do you think it is important for us to have such forums? And considering the fact that probably some of the electorates there did not even vote for you, you know, what is the significance of that?
Thank you very much. It's a very important question, considering the nature of the meeting, because it is we have different setup, one can say, different political parties and different gender involved in that meeting. That really manifests the significance of this meeting, because we believe this has to do with national issues and not actually a political issue. Because today, those that are actually there are in different political parties. Those, in fact, did not even vote for me in office. But despite all that, I believe it is important as representative of the people. I am not just representing the people of Nyamina East, but the entire Gambia. And I believe the role, the responsibility, the mandate, and the function of the National Assembly members should be known by every Gambian. So that if they are to elect or select or nominate whosoever to represent them on their behalf, they should know the person to be chosen, the person to be elected or selected to represent them. Because this has nothing to do with tribe, it has nothing to do with political parties, it has nothing much to do with the religion, the religious matter, but actually the person that they believe can best represent them. So the dialogue today there, it is all about the role of the National Assembly members, which I believe is significant, because you cannot just be there representing your people when your people actually are accusing you of doing things that are not actually within your purview, things that are not actually within your responsibility, like the case of building a hospital, building schools, constructing roads. You talk of other basic amenities that people are expecting from their representative, when in essence, that is not the role of the National Assembly member.
Omar, listen, these are things that you guys used when you were campaigning.
Point of
It's not you, but do you agree that some of your mates use this? Some people, some National Assembly members will tell you, I'll bring this, I'll bring that, I'll bring that, and they know it is not under their jurisdiction. So maybe we should not blame them for coming up with such conclusions.
Well, that is for you confirming to the audience or to the listeners that this is that some of the National Assembly members will be using as their platform. But in essence, I am saying what is important here is every National Assembly member must know, in fact, the role that you have to play before asking people to give you their votes. This is the most important thing. If you are ignorant of the role that you have to play, if you are elected, you cannot relay such information to the audience or to the electorate. That is a gap that I can say most National Assembly members have during their time of contest. That is why so many promises were given. So that is why now people are asking them to do A, B, and C, when actually they cannot even do that. So it is important for National Assembly members, including myself, not to fake the electorate. Because anything that you say today, you will be held accountable for that by the electorate. That is why today they are asking so many things or demanding so many things. But you will understand that if the electorate understand what actually is the role of the National Assembly member, then obviously they will know whom to choose better, and not actually on the basis of political parties or tribe or religion.
Okay, so Omar, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to actually know if some of the promises that Omar made while he was campaigning, he did fulfill them. So can you just tell me too? Remind me of some of the remind me of at least 2 promises that you made at the time that you were campaigning, and 2 that you were able to fulfill.
Thank you very much. That is very important. One of these, I will say, is to ensure that there is good legislation in this country. And I could remember my party, including myself, I could remember announcing or affirming to the electorate that there is need for us to have better laws. a well-defined laws, a friendly policy and programs in place. And Honorable Omar Sise will always stand to advocate that you are not ignorant of this fact. Because one of these, I will say, the president, the government, committed themselves to bring Gambians a new constitution. When such a bill was tabled before the National Assembly, I was one of those who stood to support for that commission to be established. And I voted for that commission to be established. That is the CRC, and it was established because this was a promise to my people that I will ensure that there is good legislation in place, so that people will actually know, people will actually voice out, people will actually have a say in the way and the manner in which they should be governed. But the failure of the draft constitution is not the fault of Omar Sise. When I participated in the establishment of that commission, I allowed them to do their work freely, independently, after which the bill was tabled, or the draft constitution was tabled before the National Assembly. I also participated to support for that very document to be passed, so that my promise can be realized. But to no avail, that is not the fault of Honorable Omar Sise.
That is understood, you know, that had to do with a consensus.
Very
but
well.
Moving on, what else?
Very well.
We are holding Omar Sise accountable here. It's a town hall meeting, so we're having a mini town hall meeting here as well, using this as an opportunity to also hold him accountable in relation to some of the promises that he made. It is important. It's not every young person that is able to attend the town hall meeting right here in Kudang, but you watching right there in your palo have a chance now to understand some of these things.
The two other things that I can say I have been telling my people during my campaign period is that I will hold the government accountable.
Okay.
Because people are the ones funding this, the national budget.
Okay, taxpayers'
because
money.
we can always have it in three ways, either through tax, we can also have it through grants or loan.
Okay.
This is how the budget is constituted. And I always inform my people that I will ensure that the state resources is best utilized in as much as I am concerned. That is why in every session relating to the national budget, I will prioritize things, especially in the area of education, health, agriculture, and the young people as well. I have been crying, Jenna, but you are not ignorant of this fact, that since 2017, I have been crying for the national budget or the youth sector of the budget to at least go beyond 1%. But this we cannot realize up to now. Every year, we will have less than 1% of the national budget in terms of the young people. For how long can we advocate for this to change? Okay. That is the problem we are encountering. But the farmers also, it is very important because my people are farmers. They need to be empowered. And the way in which they can be empowered is we must graduate from this subsistence agriculture to mechanized agriculture or commercial agriculture, in other words. And by doing so, we must provide the basic things, the machineries that are needed, the resources that are needed, so that farmers can be empowered. Could you imagine what happened of recent? Tractors that were provided for farmers were sold to unknown individuals, and donkeys, horses, whatever they are called, were provided.
But Omar, let's just have a real conversation here.
Very well.
We're talking about tractors, okay? This is a particular story that I looked into. I decided to try to follow. When it comes to tractors, okay, let's take here as an example. Providing a tractor and providing a donkey. If the tractor has an issue, how is it going to be fixed? If you give this to just someone here, a Mr. Sonko, an Aliu Sonko living around here, for instance, how can that be fixed? Compared to giving the person a donkey, and the person can use it, feed the donkey, and the donkey is okay, and the work can continue, rather than giving the person a tractor, 1 month, 2 months, it's done, the work is done, and the person has to sit. Let's also take a look at that.
Thank you very much, Janaba. I think it is important for you to understand what actually the agriculture is surrounding. It is not, we are just not talking about maybe growing rice, growing groundnut, growing coos and the like. You know, the horses and the donkeys that you are talking about cannot be used in the rice field. And Gambia is trying to improve that very sector to ensure that we don't import right in this country. And you cannot use this donkey in question, you cannot use this horse in question to ensure that what you need in that rice field is obtained. You cannot do that. This is what I told my people. Others will argue. I never argue that the donkey and the horses are not imported. I never argue that point. But I am saying, In as much as we want to graduate from that subsistence way of farming, we must move to mechanized agriculture. We must move to that commercial agriculture. Because here, it is only in the Gambia where you still have farmers, they will continue farming and remain poor in the Gambia. It's because of what? Farmers only farm to have survival and not to have that financial muscle to do other things, establish other things for themselves. It's because of the nature of the farming that we are experiencing in this country. The tractor in question, how are we going to maintenance that, for instance, if there is damage or whatsoever?
Yeah.
Do you know that this tractor is not given to farmers freely? Now, if everybody is to hire that tractor, is to take that tractor to your farm, you have to pay a cost. Maybe 2,000, 3,000.
I agree.
That galvanize, that mobilize, that join together, that can always maintenance the tractor. And the government also always have a part to play in that.
The government has a part to play, but the government cannot follow up on these things all the time. They can't follow
these are
all
policies,
the time.
These are policies and programs that must be put in place.
I
have
agree.
regional agricultural directors in every region.
I agree.
So do you expect the Minister of Agriculture to come down here to maybe scrutinize all those things?
Not possible, but let's also agree that community mobilization is important with what you talked about.
Very well.
But when you give this to these communities as well, do they take ownership?
Very well. It depends on how the government will give out these tractors. Because what we are realizing in this country is the government will be giving farmers projects or items, material or whatever machinery, indicating to them that this is for the president. It's coming from the president. So they will have the belief that this belongs to the president. So the way in which these items or projects are presented to farmers or implemented to the ordinary people, that is not the proper way. People must be involved. That is what we call participatory rural appraisal.
But I've seen that happening. But Omar, let's also agree that we've seen that participatory approach that you're talking about. It is happening. It has been happening, you know. In as much as sometimes we just want to put it on the government all the time, sometimes we also have to balance things. Sometimes it's about how the community perceives it. Do the community take this as their own project?
That is what I'm saying.
It's a big question, but sometimes that is also left to the community.
Today, if I should tell you that there are some projects or there is to be projects to be implemented in Nyamina East that Honorable Omar Sise is not even aware of, because they believe informing Honorable Omar Sise and Omar Sise informing his people, that is a political gain.
Anyway, I'm afraid we are taking another dimension when it comes to this,
These
Omar.
are some of the things.
So
all that I was trying to say is...
But Omar, don't you also think it's because you have a mindset that you're from GDC? That is why you are not involved?
I am a GDC supporter. I am a GDC militant. I believe in the GDC. That has nothing to do with the development of Nyamina East. In as much as the government want to develop Nyamina and they have a representative chosen from the political party of their choice, the government actually cannot do much about that. But to ensure that some of these things that they are doing, I am aware, so that the people can be properly informed in the manner in which they should take ownership of those projects.
Anyway, for me, not just for me, I'm not saying this on my behalf, but I'm just saying that when it comes to some of these projects that need to happen, it's a two-way thing. Yes, the government has a role to play, but the community as well should take ownership when it comes to these things to make sure that these projects go. But anyway, like I said, it's not everyone that is fortunate to be able to be here and attend this particular town hall meeting, but at least this is a chance for them to understand as well what has been happening. As the youngest MP there, it is important that we know some of the things that you've been trying to achieve. And you talked about the fact that you've never used any political tool that is beyond your jurisdiction to campaign. Is that so?
Very well.
So that has never happened?
Very well.
All right. So now, are you aware that 50% of the votes that have been registered for the 2021 December 4th election are young people? And as a young person who is a National Assembly member, how do you feel about that?
I'm very impressed because if you are following me on social media, most of my political message goes to the young people. Because I believe the women we are talking about, the young people that we are talking about, they constitute a greater number of the vote registered.
Yes.
So as a result of that, the young people must not be fooled. The young people must not be deceived. The young people, their mind must not be manipulated. In the sense that giving them T-shirt. I wrote an article that I am yet to publish. I said the young people will always be scrambling for T-shirt.
But GDC gives out T-shirt,
I'm coming. What is a T-shirt? I'm giving this message across.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with party.
The message that I am giving goes to the young people across, irrespective of my political party or political parties.
Okay.
So T-shirt cannot give you any development.
Okay.
T-shirt cannot give you any policy. T-shirt cannot give you any program. I would rather ask the young people to advocate for policy and program affecting the young people rather than scrambling for T-shirt. T-shirt is just for identity, identification of political parties. I am not saying T-shirts are not important because they are meant for identification, not just to bring confusion. But the most important part of this, I even advocate for debate to take place from all the various political parties. Let various political parties invite their youth leaders in various political parties to talk about programs and policies affecting the young people. I committed myself to participate whenever I am called. I am always committed.
I'll call you then because this is part of our plans.
I am always committed to talk about issues affecting the young people, policies to remedy some of these issues, but not to scramble for T-shirt. So the young people must be aware. The young people must be sensitized. You and I, we have a role to play to ensure that the young people are sensitized so that they can better understand the value of their voting card, so that they can better utilize it and realize the impact tomorrow and not to scramble for T-shirt.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Omar Ceesay. I will say honorable. I need to get that right.
Thank you.
Any final words generally in relation to youth participation in politics? We know the National Assembly elections as well is around the corner. Once the December 4th election is out, we'll be heading right onto that. And you're the youngest National Assembly member. So what do you have to tell young people out there who aspire to be in your position, you know, come next National Assembly election?
Thank you very much. Not because today I am in the position, but I have that public acknowledgement, that public recognition in terms of the roles, the responsibility that I played in the National Assembly. This is an open secret. Not just because today I am the one there, but one of my ambitions was to inspire the young people so that they can take it up from there. To inspire the young people so that they can participate. To inspire the young people so that they can define their own policy. To inspire the young people so that they can participate in the highest decision-making body. And I believe to some extent I have achieved that. So I will continue to encourage the young people to come into politics. We cannot afford not to participate in politics because everything that has to do with our daily survival, everything that has to do with our daily life, there is some elements of politics. The empowerment of young people we are talking about, it is designed by the politician. The law affecting the young people is designed by the politician. And all other things that has to do with the young people, it is out there designed by the politician. So what is wrong for us as young people to come and participate and define some of those things by ourselves? So it is relevant. So I am urging all young people to participate in politics. We must not be used as a tool to suppress. We must not be used as a tool to fight other political parties. Because I am in the GDC, they want to use me as a tool because I am a young somebody, I am stubborn to fight other political parties. Young people must go away with that. Because every political violence, every election violence that happens, the young people will be pointed out. So why do we have to fight?
Not necessary.
For the elderly people, physical fight, insulting, assassinating someone's character, and saying other things that are never true and can never be true about that person. I think it is high time for us, the young people, to change the narrative.
All right, thank you so much.
Is committed to be part and lead that narrative.
That change. Thank you so much, Honorable Ceesay. And Honorable talked about the fact that he's ready for a debate, like I mentioned. We will try by all means on this platform, because this is something that we did last election. We'll try by all means to organize this debate. Mom ak ñeneen, you know, debate it out. I'm not solo.
Very well.
All right.
Very
so
well.
Viewers, we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will head right on to another interview. So I'll be interviewing an electorate this time from the hall, dragging the person here to also try to understand some of the questions that these people have for Omar and other councillors. So do stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Bus, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Yeah, so viewers, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV Youth Dialogue, and I'm your host, Jenna Bosonko. So today we're taking a look at a town hall meeting that is happening right here in Kudang. It's not specifically directed for young people, but we have 20 young people who are participating. So it is important that we also seek their opinion in relation to how this particular town hall meeting organized by Action Aid Gambia in collaboration with Activista has been. So I'm joined by Ramatulai Jallow. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you too.
Yeah, so Ramatulai, how has this been? You know, you are an electorate and you've heard from some of your leaders in your constituency. So talk to me about how beneficial this particular town hall meeting has been.
This meeting is very important to attend because we know something today which we don't know before about the deputies. We are thinking that if you elect a deputy, anything you want, he will do it for you. On the whole, these people, they are only there to make law and represent people and talk about how the Gambia is going.
All right. So prior to this particular session with your representatives, what did you think was the responsibility of a National Assembly member prior to this, before this meeting?
I was thinking that when you elect a person, anything you want, if you want a school, when you tell the individual he's supposed to build a school for you, or hospital, or any other thing that you want.
Okay. All right. So do you have a voter's card?
Yes.
You
this
have
year I have a voter's card.
You have a voter's card this year?
Yes.
And you're ready to vote come December 4th?
Yes.
Okay, so what message do you have for your fellow young people out there in relation to the fact that they already have a voter's card, but some might be reluctant to go out and vote?
What I advise for my fellows young people to know, don't vote for whom you know or whom you like. Vote for whom you know the person can take care of the country. We go in peace.
All right. So what do you think about the work of Action Aid and young people?
Action Aid are doing well in the Gambia. As they say inside, when is this man
Fafa
is the person who called for the meeting, they will say that it's this party who called the meeting. But the moment you say Action Aid, many people will leave their work and come and attend the meeting.
Okay, because it shows that they're non-partisan.
Yes, Action Aid is doing well in the Gambia.
Okay, so finally, what message do you have, just finally?
To advise the people that don't go further to this politics. Whom you know can take care of the country, don't vote for that person and you go with them.
With the rest.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the message from Ramatulai. It's not about whom you know, who your family member is, but it's about the person who can take care of the country. And
peacefully.
Peacefully as well. So I am so happy that this town hall meeting organized by Action Aid the Gambia is beneficial for you.
Yes.
Now you know the responsibilities of National Assembly member.
I know many things today, which I don't know before.
Okay.
To come for this meeting is very important.
It is important, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So that was Ramatulai Jallow there. So viewers, we will go for a short break, and when we come back, we will get to wrap it up. Do stay tuned.
One nation, 8 tribes. We are the smiling coast of Africa. Gap-toothed, wide smile, rich melanin skin, radiant with the colors of a rich tapestry of cultures, telling one story of unity and beauty. Wrapped in the soft folds of a mother's sir, a Khalifa's grambuba, we embody the past of our ancestors and the promise of our descendants. Follow the records of our history, this story that tells of a people watered by the river in the gleaming sun of a coastal nation. Listen to the folk tales, those old tales we grew up on. Lebon, Lupain, Amon Nafi, Danaam. Hear the music of an entire nation in the language of its heart and mother tongue. Our tongues are heavy with the song of our people. Rich and thick it rolls off like domoda, soft like yasa, bena chinla, nyokomom. Feel the beat of our pounding feet as we dance to the sounds of a throbbing drum, ageless in its rhythm. The griot's kora that speaks the wisdom of the ages. The sweet sound of a mother's lullaby bringing even sweeter sleep. We clap a melody with young and old hands, a symphony full of the pleasures of life, the joys of work and home. We are Gambian. Bi suñu cosaan la, suñu dëkk, suñu bos.
As you can see with the images that you saw prior, you see that we're just trying to have a taste of how rural Gambia is, you know, so I was pounding and all of that, which is good. And the reason why we're here as well is to also know if the people that are living around here really know what the responsibility of National Assembly members are and just rural leaders in general. So I'm joined by Jenaba Mbay. Jenaba jërëjëf. Okay. Te jangal nga ma nu ñoo woné tamet. Man lolu neex na ma de part bobu neex na ma parce que man xawma woné sa diga bi la wara téye. So lu tama wara téye lu tama wara téye diga bi.
So téye ci kaw fi du mëna def ci digg bi ngay téye nga mëna def bu baax.
So diga ba gën ma téye ni daal.
Waaw.
Fi du dem.
Dédé.
Du dem. Okay. So yow ma laccé la tamit bala ñoo dem ci main thing bi luma la bëgg la ci. Naka la mel dëkka fii dëkka Kudang am fi sa ay doom di sëy di liggéey fii Kudang naka nga gisee Kudang fii
mu ne fii de kanaa coono bu rëy rek
ok waaw coono bu rëy comme naka
si liggéey bi rek
si liggéey bi waaw waaye gis nañ ne tamit seen doom yi da ngeen leen dee yóbbu school
di waaw
mu nekk lu baax nekk lu am solo
waaw
man nag tey suma tànka lu gën a tax ma ñëw fi mooy pour xam ndax yéen waa fii xam ngeen liggéey député yow député tey man su ma la doon laaj lan mooy liggéey député lan nga maa wax dara kon dafa mel ni yow xamuloo député liggéeyam waaye yow lan nga foog ne mooy liggéey député
liggéey député kay xaw ma si lu bëri woon
liggéey député xamaloo si dara dara so dañ bëggoon a xam lii because dafa important pour député yi nga xam ne ñoom ngeen dee jóg di dem sànneel yéen jigéen ñi ak ndaw yi foog nañ ne dafa important pour ngeen xam ko because sometimes ñu dégg fi ñu ne député dafaa def lii dafaa def la li fekk loolu yëpp mënu koo def so yow tey su ma la doon laaj foog nga ne député mun naa tabax school
mën na ko tabax mën na ko ñàkk a tabax kay
mun na ko tabax mun na ko ñàkk a tabax waaye est-ce que xam nga ne du droit-am pour mu def ko waaw du droit-am moom pour lu mu mun a def mooy pour taxawal ay loi waaye tey Action Aid ñu ngi fii tey ak ëllëg ñu ngi nekk fii si seen hall bu nekk fii ñu ngi am meeting bi nag mu ngi nekk si wàllum won nit ñi lan mooy liggéeyu député so moo tax nag Action Aid ñu taxawal programme bii nii pour educate leen tey la door dem ba ëllëg soo xit na soo amee jot rek mën nga faa romba xam liggéeyu député lan la because election bi soritu torop nga mën a xam koy sànni sa card te yow gis nañ ne ndaw nga am nga voters card am nga voters card baax na kon December 4 bul nelaw de génnal nga dem vote
waaw
all right thank you so much Jenaba jërëjëf so fi mu nekk nii nag maa ngi def mu baax wala nii la
waaw acca dangaa téye si digg bi
damaa téye si digg bi ok nii rek
waaw noonu la
maa ngi si kawam
waaw yaa ngi si kawam baax kay
yes So viewers, I'm afraid that is all we have for you in this edition of the Youth Dialogue. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to Action Aid as well, in collaboration with the EU. Thank you to all the partners that worked with us during this process. I'm afraid this is our last program throughout the process with Action Aid, and I'm quite sad, but I'm 100% sure that with the good work that we've put in, I'm sure through EU and other partners in collaboration with Action Aid, we'll be able to have further partnerships as such. Don't forget to connect with us on our different social media platforms to stay connected with what QTV have to offer. I'm saying this all the time. As long as you're a young person, wherever you are, I will take my time to find you. I never knew I was going to meet Jana Bambai here, but we're able to meet and she's on here. So just keep up the good work and be rest assured that Youth Dialogue is a safe space that will come your way eventually. Bye for now.